How cool is it that you've got amateur classes at the Super Motocross playoffs? It's a step in the right direction. You've got Jaden Smart hucking one of the 75-foot triples like it's getting out of bed. Just easy peasy, clean as a whistle. Hopefully you don't see this kid at any local track anytime soon, because it is going to severely bruise some grown men's ego. Here's another view of it. Just freaking WFO. Looks super scary, but so clean. Not to leave out any of the other kids, the eventual winner, Jackson Vick. Watch him as he come back across the start. Just lifts that front wheel up, gets over one of those checkup bumps. Just beautifully executed. Just a professional line at the age of 12. Here, we'll watch that in real time. Boom, just land, rebound the front end, wheelies over, checks out. I have to point out, I've never seen this before, but that's just probably because I'm probably blind in most cases. You've got a new parent, Jason Anderson, with the baby fan blowing just a leaf blower, but depending upon how hot it is out there, you're just blowing hot air in there. Honestly, it's very intuitive, It had to be put into the video. All jokes aside, Ken Roczen, this is what makes these guys pros and professionals, the top 1%, separates the men from the boys, is you've got Ken Roczen, who was not doing the gnarly triple quad line, but he busted out first lap in Moto 2, and he gets around Ty, and you can see the distance that he gets. He gets 3 to 4 bike lengths from just doing this giant ass line. But the thing that's the most impressive is freaking lap 1. You're not sitting on the gate. You're not worrying about, hey, can I do this? He's worrying about getting a good start. He gets a good start. He puts this in the back of his head, and finally, once he gets to that section, he just freaking hucks it and goes for it. Where a lot of riders, and amateurs included, this is something that is very difficult to overcome, is having the ability to not just have that control your whole reality. I know a lot of times you've probably been there before when there's a bad section or big jump and you just asphyxiate on it every lap. And so you ruin your entire flow because you're just worried about when that section comes up on the track. Not Kenny. Kenny puts in the back of his mind, once it's in front of him, just goes for it and does it like he's been doing it since he woke up. This was the most impressive feat that I saw from this track because the track was very similar, very one line. It was hard to have any real big differentials, but we will go over some of the big differentials right here. This rider right here, Ty Masterpool, watch what he does during this split. Watch him preload. Did you see it? Very subtle. This guy deserves an award on so many levels and a factory ride included with a big payday. This dude has appendicitis, is out there sick as a dog, gets good starts, puts himself in good position, knows how to ride a motorcycle, and here he's doing the whole jet bounce thing. Watch him in front of Kenny. Boom. Here, we'll do it one more time so you can see it. Just notice how he's going to push down on the foot pegs to try to get over some of these big braking bumps. Maybe if you had a factory bike, a little bit extra horsepower, might have been able to do it. But I am incredibly impressed with this young man. Have I been scared for him? Yes, I have. That's not to take away his ability, because this dude is a grade A outlier when it comes to being on a dirt bike. Up next is Jetson, pretty much doing the Vic line in the 65s. You probably saw what he was doing, but he decides to just jump over it as a double because he's got monster truck wheels compared to the 65s. But watch, as he lands, it's just a little bounce, boom, into a double. I said it in my track analysis video that in order to pass on a track like this, you're going to have to drag race him. You're going to have to outbrake him. You're going to have to stay a little bit lower, get a little bit more aerodynamics. And this is exactly what Jet did to Jason Anderson on this straightaway. Look what he's doing. BMX soaking it up. Ooh. And did you catch? It's so beautifully executed. These guys are so much fun to watch. But watch. lifts that front wheel up, and the inertia and the force that that front fork is hitting this single at is gotta be just insane. The amount of G-forces that it's creating on the body and the frame of that motorcycle, but he's not getting all the way over it. And partially, I believe part of the reason why a lot of these guys are not just completely wheeling over it is because if you wheelie over something completely and that front wheel doesn't catch anything else, well, you might get into this gnarly endo, and it's going to send you into the face of the finish line, and it's not going to be fun to do. But typically, when I compare Jet to anyone else, Jet wins. However, Sexton, he's able to get his front wheel all the way up and over it and able to soak it up. And because he's on the gas and you have to be wide open, if he was to let off, that bike would rebound on him, and it would do exactly what I was just saying previously. So the amount of confidence that Sexton has to wheelie over it and not just hit the top of it is freaking insane. And also how fast these motorcycles are, that they can be wide open. And look at how far back Jet is in order to try to get a pop of that wheelie. Because go try this right now. Go ride your bike and go do 50 miles an hour and then try to pop it into a wheelie. It's not going to happen. You need to have some sort of a little starter bump. You need to have massive amounts of torque, something to get that front wheel up. And these riders are creating that. Look at Jet, how much he is squatting the bike to try to get that thing to come up here. And then you've got Sexton, who is just a beast. He's so strong on the bike, he can just lift that sucker up and get over it. There's a saying, before you can go fast, you got to look flash. So make sure you shop puremoto.com. You can search over 400 local retailers, 1.6 million items currently in stock. You can find some super limited edition Alpine Stars. Whatever you're looking for, you can buy it locally. You can have it delivered. Puremoto.com is an online indexing company that connects you, the consumer, with millions of products currently in stock. It's the fastest way to shop. Make sure you're checking out puremoto.com. As Lightning McQueen says, you got to turn left to go right. Let's watch Sexton do just that here. Look at that. Beautifully done. Look at that. Elbow is not really dropping on the inside throttle. He is centered on the motorcycle because he's got some traction, and he's letting that ass end spin around, feet on the pegs, turning left to go right. When I watch the race, I am just always in awe at these guys' ability to be able to do these kind of things on a track that is increasingly more and more difficult every lap. Just insane. Here, we'll watch it in real time again. It just shows you how much I love the sport and the riders, for them to be able to move a motorcycle to how they were manufactured to do so. The designers, I'm sure the designers are like, okay, we have these riders that have these abilities. Now, how do we get them to mesh together to where we make a perfect motorcycle, to where it can be done? Do we think it's possible? No, not really. But it's the one thing about the human condition, is it's always going to surprise you. At least somebody is going to surprise you. You have the Supercross champ getting the much-deserved screen time, because all summer long it was Jetson 101 Clinic. This is the pass he had for the lead on Ken Roczen in Moto 2. And look at this. You've got this gnarly deep rut, and these guys are constantly dissecting the track lap after lap. They have the ability to change their lines and the confidence to change their lines and not worry about if it's going to be worse or better, right? Obviously, they want it to be better, but have you ever been stuck in a race pace or stuck behind somebody and you just did not want to get out of that line because you were kind of nervous about the other thing? It's the whole whoop phenomenon. If you have a good line through the whoops and it's becomes all choppy. It's very difficult to try to change your line because you're scared of the holes and whatever. But these guys don't have that fear, or they're able to just overcome it. You know, that's the definition of courage. It's not what you can do in the absence of fear, it's what you can do in the presence of fear. But that maybe not be a good analogy for this rut here. We're just talking about the pass, and I'm digressing. What I thought was rather impressive was look at how he is coming up to it. He's leaning his body, and he's keeping that bike straight, and he's going around the big deep line, and then he's going to just counterweight the bike to then hit it at an angle to jump and land back into where that line is exiting, and at the same time blocking Kenny. See, Kenny was going wide because he was staying out of that line. If, you know, Kenny is a smart rider, he knows when somebody's that close to him, you're probably going to try to cover your line. But no, he thinks it's going to be faster to go to the outside because this inside is going to slow him down and it's going to be all bumpy. Well, you've got Sexton being creative, turns it into a completely new line. I will talk about more suspension setup in a later video. Watch Sexton as he's coming across the rollers that were supposed to be a little bit bigger, but rollers before the big triple that Smart was doing on his 65. He will wheelie, and then wheelie over and accelerate and triple out. Wheelie, triple out. So smooth. Front wheel doesn't even touch it here. We'll go in slow motion. The camera almost doesn't pick it up. Look at right there. Wheelie, he's manualing, and just turns that into a triple. And then now he can almost just coast off the actual triple because of the momentum that he has. We'll watch it again. Sexy. So cool. I disrupt the programming to just say thank you. Subscribe to this channel, hit the notification icon. I know a lot of you guys are doing it. I sincerely appreciate it. Watch Jet as he is transforming this sport by turning giant braking bumps into rhythm sections. This is after the finish line. Just lets off the brakes and just lets the motorcycle float underneath him and just little double, which that is so incredibly just crazy to think about, because if you were there, that is something that you want to go through so slow, but this guy is just jumping off of these curbs. And I just wonder what this guy's brain is, where he sees something, and where normally guys see, hey, that's where you slow down, he sees something completely different. His perspective on reality is so skewed and so different that it is miraculous. Boom. And here, he does it again in Moto 1 when he was not feeling it. You could tell because he's got his tear off on the left-hand side that obviously these guys are professionals. You do not have tear-offs hanging out there unless you're dealing with some sort of arm pump or you're not comfortable. With him being not comfortable, he's this rider right here, he's still able to wheelie into the face of one of these big roller singles, and that is going to be just enough to make you have more arm pump, because that's not something that you're going to do. You're not going to attack the track anymore if you're not feeling comfortable. But he was yet one of the only riders I saw do this, where he just wheelies and puts it right into the face of that thing to smack and have it bounce, and then he can get to the inside and try to make the pass on guys. But notice that tear off. That is the end of the video. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Till next time, keep it WFO. Brah.